four very exceptional business people. Give a round of applause for them. Now the floor is open to you. Don't waste the opportunity to ask a question. And don't think, oh, I'll get them in the break, because they'll be surrounded by lots of people talking. So ask your questions now.
This question is directed to the sales departments. In setting up the business and it's running forward, what sort of mistakes did you encounter, and how did you learn from them?
Thank you. In setting up this business, I think I drew from my experience in the field of sales. I understand my target market, and before I started out, I carried out a research in 2007 and 2008, asking businesses 10 questions about new business development and managing existing clients. And what we realized was that about 86% of the businesses we called actually needed the kind of service I will be starting. That was the first thing that sort of got me more confident. The other thing was that I realized that, like Samir said, you should always ask for help. So I have a business mentor, and this is someone who started businesses in 3 different continents. In the UK, 2 of the businesses he started has been listed on the stock exchange. So he's been there, done that. He's not just a coach by certificate. There were 2 mistakes we made at the beginning of this year. The first one was the process of recruitment. I have a team of salespeople who actually do the selling, and I manage them. And we adopted a model of not advertising to recruit and getting recommendations from people we've met through networking. And 2 people actually gave us false recommendation, and we didn't really exhaust it, and we learned pretty quickly, because I put 2 of my salespeople on a client assignment, and within 3 weeks, because of my experience in managing salespeople, I knew they were blaggers. So I fired them. It was a bit tough, but I had to do it. And now we've changed that, and we go through a more robust and different recruitment approach. The other mistake was that in the first 3 months, we didn't understand. We were sort of mixing the income and together. So we were not, it was just the revenue. We weren't sort of separating our tax, what we have to pay towards tax. And I think because I got someone who I'm swapping skills with, because I have an accountant who's going to, does our account and all that, but he will only file the accounts at the end of the year. But I have somebody now who I'm swapping skills with, who used to be someone I knew from BNI days, who every 2 weeks, he comes in and look at what we're doing. And he quickly spotted the mistake. And now we know that for every £100 we make, X goes towards tax. We were just thinking, at the end of the year, we're going to put some money aside. But we're very lucky that quickly it's been spotted and rectified before it became a major headache. So those were the 2 mistakes, and we've rectified them so far. Yeah.
Does your business affect your family life, and how does it affect your family life?
Is that directed to anybody in particular?
No.
What's the take that one?
It was probably, especially people maybe focused on mortgages, it was quite an easy market in the sense that, easier, let me say. It was very much order takers, so a lot of people wanted to get finance for properties. You didn't have to sell the concept of home ownership. It's something that's very much in the UK. When it started to die, if you'd built I'd built my model a lot around the mortgage market, and that income went down about 80% because of the market, I chose to... I'm answering your question, by the way, if you're thinking, where am I heading with this? If you can... You've not answered my question. No, I decided to work offshore. I'm married, I've got 4 kids, and I'm 30 years old. We do have a TV before anyone asks, okay? Okay, anyway, so I decided to work offshore. It was a very good opportunity to work with a well-established IFA. So I went obviously away initially to go by myself. My wife, at the time we had 3 kids. When I was in Frankfurt, the plan was to bring them over. She fell pregnant again with the 4th child, which is now born, praise God. And basically, so yes, it does affect family. I made this choice about a year ago because I was coming home on weekends, or my wife was flying out to see me in Frankfurt. I left a very well-remunerated position to come back. There are challenges on family when you are running businesses because you do have to invest in the business. I think the key thing is a lady spoke earlier and said, God, family, your business. Yeah, remember that? Yeah, and I had to make that hard decision. I still am probably out more than I'm in, but when I am with my family, I make sure it's quality time. So I think the key thing is if you are running a business, there are effects on your family from personal experience, but it's about, one, your priorities. If you prioritise and say, you know, my family's the most important thing, when you are with them, you spend quality time. I make a habit of dropping my kids to school in the morning, and when I can, I will work from home if it's possible, and making sure there's quality of time. So there is an effect sometimes on your family, but I think it depends on the business person prioritising and deciding, okay, what are the most important things in my life, and making sure I invest that time. So I kind of hope that answers your question, and that's my personal experience.
Yes, I have a new, as I said when I was speaking earlier, I have a 2-year-old who came to us in December, and so that was a bit of a surprise. I didn't expect him to arrive so soon. So I just started my business. I launched on 17th of September, got a phone call on the 15th of October, went to see him all the way in Edinburgh, spent 2 weeks in Edinburgh meeting this new little toddler full of beans, who we were going to adopt in November. So the most of November was spent up to and fro from Edinburgh, and on the 2nd of December he arrived. And I thought, great, fantastic, a beautiful little boy. And then, I haven't written my blog. Oh, I have to do my accounts. Oh, I have to do my VAT return. Oh my goodness. So this initially this panic ensued, and I thought, how can I possibly do that? Now, going from what Michael's saying, the way you do that is choose to prioritize, choose to work out what is the thing this is about. I started my business to have a flexible lifestyle, a lifestyle that would support my family, a lifestyle that support the way I wanted, a business that would support the way I wanted to live. So that was the basis of the choice. So I decided I'm not going to sacrifice the family in order to run the business. It seems, what's the point of me starting in the first place? I started the business to support and create my family lifestyle that I wanted. And so, so I realized I had to put some practical things into place. The challenge, there are many women here, and some with families and children, and to be honest, it's a different challenge for women in business than it is for men, because there is this talk about work-life balance. It means something different for women. There's talk about having it all. Why should women have it all? You can't have it both. You can't have family and career and balance. And that's a dilemma for women. It's not a dilemma many men face, is in a different way. And also, I've also been criticised. What's the point of adopting a child and running the business? How can you possibly do that in a recession in the first place? So there's a lot of pressure on women, and I found that the pressure quite challenging, quite difficult, and quite disheartening and discouraging. I decided, however, I will not be discouraged and disheartened. There is a purpose behind this and a sense of destiny and a way I wanted to make choices. And I could choose to listen to the external voices out there and also my own limiting beliefs. I can't do this, I can't manage, I can't possibly manage to do all this. Instead, I can choose to take that 1 minute. Today I can do this 1 minute. And for somebody with a toddler who's just new, just settling in, it was a real challenge. So in practical terms, Cameron's now at nursery. So I go about saying, I've got 3 hours today. I have 3 hours to do some work. Wow, fantastic. And so I now know that in those 3 hours, I have to make those 3 hours very, very productive. Because at 12:30, I'm picking Cameron up from nursery. So those 3 hours, I had to choose specifically what I'm going to do in those 3 hours on that particular morning, on that particular day. So for me, it's about choice. It's about unpicking, taking away all those negative connotations around family and work-life balance, and thinking this is a family issue. I have a very supportive husband and a family. And making the choice for your family, God first, family and business. And how you do that, you work out strategies to put those things into place. It is difficult, it is a challenge, but it's a choice that I wanted to make, and that's the way you work it in order to do that. But as I say, it is different challenges for women, there is, and but women work it out. They have done, haven't we, ladies? And we continue to do it, don't we? Thank you very much. I've got to put that in.
Right. I work with vulnerable people here, and I know in this country you get funds from the government to, run the projects. I have a great passion in me to support vulnerable people, and I want to open something similar in Africa. In fact, I've registered it. But the clients are numerous. But how to source funding to support the project is my question. So if you have any tips on that, please.
Well, I think there are different organizations that lend money towards social causes. I know of an organization called Kiva, and I know they give funds towards, causes in Africa. And I know of a friend from Sierra Leone who started a charity in Sierra Leone and got some funds from them. How much they give, I don't know. And I think maybe some other members of the panel could give you some tips on that, but I know Kiva does help, and if you also maybe use Google, because we're in the information age, you could just type in funding for charities or social causes in Africa. You may be surprised to find some, organizations that could actually serve your purpose.
Done throughout my life and my business, I've asked people. I've not only asked them, how do you do it? I've asked them, how can you help me as well? Because sometimes if you're scared to ask somebody, how do you do it, it may be because you may not be willing to share information as well. I share a lot of my information about what I do as a business person because I'm very confident that even if you do the same thing as me, you are not me. You can't do it as good as me. So if there are charities that are already doing what you want to do, then don't try to reinvent the wheel. Maybe you can model them, or maybe you can collaborate, network, and partner up with them and say, how about putting a branch of what you're doing in this country? So that may be able to help you instead of trying to start it all from scratch. Any other questions? Oh, sorry, Michael.
Just to add to your question, in terms of your organisation, is it a not-for-profit? It's mainly a social sort of enterprise. Is that correct?
It is a social enterprise. In fact, what I want to do, because I've done a research on that and I've checked, the organizations that are there. Mine is unique in the sense that I want to work with vulnerable women and their children. Okay. And support the mothers to, help them to live independently by scaling them up, so that they can, manage their families as well. So that is, the plan. And I've put all the paperwork